Today I learned a thing that you can only learn by combing through forum posts for hours on end. And I figured there's an easy way for you guys to learn this. Much easier than how I learned it. So today I'm working on my Lincoln. It's a 1969 Mark III, which has the Ford 460 in it. And it's got tons of issues. It had been parked since 1983. It's in really good condition, but it's just tired. It's needed a little bit of everything. All the bushings are shot. It squeaks and squawks when it hops down the road. And drives great, but part of that is because this is a different engine. I put a 68 Continental engine in it because I could get it for $600 on Craigslist delivered. But engine's got 22,000 miles on it. The car's only got 46,000 miles on it. And the original engine was tired from sitting and then getting started, not being lubricated correctly, and it needed rings, and it possibly needed a head gasket. And I pulled it out, put it on a shelf. We're going to rebuild it later. But for now, this engine runs, this one drives, and I'm more than happy to beat on this one and learn everything I need to know about this one while I restore the original engine. It doesn't have the original trans in it, never did as far as I can tell. It's got a 1970 date code on it, so it's clearly been rebuilt and installed at some point, but I'm not worried about numbers matching. I already got a Pioneer stereo in this thing, but I figure maybe the next guy will be, so might as well keep what you can. So part of the issue I'm dealing with is the fuel gauge and the oil pressure gauge don't work, so I was scared that there's a chance that the voltage regulator and the dash can go bad and then they're both no good, but I think it's as simple as I got two sending unit problems. And the reason I found that out is because a forum post mentioned the exact behavior I was seeing. So if you turn the key on, you hear my electric fuel pump, but you see the oil pressure pins to the roof. But then when you start the car, which of course takes two hands thanks to my neutral safety switch. Let's see if I can get this aimed at that gauge for you. The oil pressure starts to drop. Long story short, it will go all the way down to absolutely nothing. So I thought maybe a bad sender, I thought maybe a bad gauge, but somebody on the internet explained to me exactly what I needed to hear. He said, very often whenever you go to the parts store and ask for that oil pressure sender, they give you the one off the later models that had an oil pressure light, not an oil pressure gauge. There we go. That guy right there. That is our oil pressure sender. Except that is an oil pressure switch. And that's a picture of the exact device this guy on this forum post posted. Is if you have that, you have an oil pressure switch. Now, if I take a nice long walk back to the storage shelves where the old 460 is sitting, that is an oil pressure gauge sending unit. That is what you're looking for, and that is the one the parts store cannot figure out how to deliver, apparently. And this engine, when I received it from Craigslist, had an oil pressure light sending unit, not a gauge sending unit. So the long and the short of it is, I just have to swap those two. And the good news is that part is available. I do not have a part number. I will put it right here if I can. And the only issue is it's at the back of the engine, and it's like, you know, you're working at full arm extension and it gets real tiring after a while working like that. So it's the biggest problem I've had with this car so far is the thing's so damn big you can't reach anything and all the parts are extremely heavy. So hopefully I switch that out and I'll have a working gauge. Getting that part down in there was an absolute ordeal. but it works. And of course, if you're going to change the pressure sensor, all you need is a 9/16 wrench. However, if, like me, your car has the pressure switch in place of the pressure sending unit, and you need to remove that to fix the problem, you need a 1 1/16 socket. Make sure it's a deep well, your life will be easier. So I had to go buy that because I have 1 inch and 1 1/8, but I do not have 1 1/16. A great day to be in the garage. It is. Once I get the carburetor tuned correctly, this thing will be great.